Good morning, good evening, good night. You can tell these are the first words I'm saying today out loud because it sounds like that. But anyways, welcome to another episode of Facebook Follies, where we see if this live feed actually lasts 30 minutes. I'm not really sure. I have had not a lot of faith lately, but anyways, it is good to be with you this morning as we kind of continue on this first light. Kind of like the idea that it's still bright outside. Kind of like the idea that we're starting to get a little bit of heat and things like that that are exciting. So I like that, and I'm kind of excited that I see viewers coming up on the screen because I have to admit I wasn't really seeing that a lot. Now, mind you, it did drop to zero and then tell me that it had ended. But do me a favor. Let me know that this feed's working by saying hi in the comment section. It's always great to know who's joining with us, even if it's later, if you're watching this episode later, maybe 6:30 in the morning is not your jam. Who knows? Maybe you're up at 3 and you just can't do something at 6:30 in the morning because you're busy doing something else. And all I have to say to that is I applaud you because I think I have a pretty crazy sleep schedule, but you know what? There's always going to be those that are crazier than me. There you go, Tracy. You got pole position today. Good to see you there this morning, and welcome to this episode here of First Light. We're talking about blessing, and so I want to pose the question. Boy, I was just thinking what the question was going to be, and then I kind of lost it there. You know what? The question I wanted to ask you today is, do you believe that you can be blessed more than the person you bless? Put that in the comment section. Yes, no, why you feel like that. Do you believe that you can be blessed more than the person that you're blessing? And bonjour, Chrissy. Comment ça va? La belle province de Quebec. And it's good to have you here. Yes, it's 9:30 your time. But, you know, who knows? Maybe you still get up at 3 in the morning. I'm not really sure. Linda, it's great to have you. Laura, as well, it's great having you joining with us today. And I'm not really quite sure why Facebook has to put this big, gaudy kind of thing on my screen saying there's new comments, which doesn't allow me to read the comments. So anyways, it's just one of those fun things. But we do thank Facebook for the fact that we can do this for free. Yes, so you kind of live with whatever happens if I all of a sudden die and I've got to bring on a new episode or whatever is going on like that. But anyways, it is good to be here with you and joining with you, even if it's later, and even if you're on YouTube. I think it's really cool that we're on YouTube there, and you're in the group, so I can tell you this: we are nearing 1,000 views of the videos that we've been doing here, and I'm only doing the ones that are in 2022. So I'm not going back further than that. We're just starting in January of this last year. And so we're only halfway in the year and we almost have 1,000 views. So we'll have some sort of party when we hit that. We're like 970 or something like that. I'm not really sure. Good morning, Richard. And I appreciate you getting up this morning, even though your school year is done. And in many ways you could just say, I'm sleeping in. But look at that, you're up early in the morning, as well as Brenda. And Brenda, look at that, back-to-back chefs, you know, Richard and Brenda right there. So that's always kind of cool. And they're on that. My goodness, I don't know why Facebook does that. You don't see my screen. You don't see the frustration of just these big signs coming up. But anyways, it is good to be with you. Just let you know we're starting this brand new series on Sundays, starting this Sunday. And this Sunday's message, can't wait. Just can't wait to have this message happen. I'm not going to give it away because we're doing this memory verse thing, right? So you have to learn these verses throughout the year or throughout the summer, and we'll have this station set up for people to come in and to share their memory verse every week, and that way, if you want to do 2 or 3 or 4, because as the weeks go on, the more verses you learn, you can come back and then you can say, okay, I'm going to do this verse, and then we've got this big gift coming from Parasaurus.com that we're really excited to be able to give you, and they're excited to partner with us on this. And this is not a shameless plug. I don't get paid for it. I don't actually. It costs me in a way because in some ways, well, we're paying for the gift, and they're gonna make it easy. They're gonna make it a good gift, but still, like, you know what I mean. So but I think it's worth it. It's worth it to learn these verses. I want to just get it out there right now that I think there's 10 weeks that we're doing this series, and none of them will be Jesus wept. I'm sorry. That is not one of them. Oh my goodness, I got to do the mug of the day, and then we got to jump right into the teaching. The mug of the day has been brought to you by the beautiful evergreen state of Washington. Okay, why am I? Okay, there we are. It's straight there. Everything's backwards, and I can't even seem to do this. So Washington State, that is today's mug of the day, and I just love the fact that I can actually go there now. It's been kind of nice to. I remember hugging that Zero Avenue. If you're not from the area here, Zero Avenue drives right along the border, and sometimes there's a road just on the other side of the border, and that's all that's between. There's like these little concrete pegs, and just basically saying, don't cross. Probably that, plus I think if you did cross, all of a sudden you'd have like a red laser on you from the SWAT team and that. But anyways, I know you did not come and get up early this morning to talk about SWAT teams and stuff like that, but that's what we're going to talk about. No, we're not. We're going to move on to today's topic. So let's take a moment. Let's just pray. And then, God, I just ask right now that you would be with us. I thank every person who is joining with us live, joining with us later, taking the time to just be with this process of just honoring you in how we conduct our lives and live our lives. And we just ask this in your name. Amen. Amen. You know what? As I was thinking about this, and I saw, Chrissy joining with us. For those of you who know, you can just put me on mute for the next 30 seconds. No, it's fine. But for those of you who don't know, Chrissy and Cal are part of our mission ministry partners. So we have what we call outreach partnerships, and we have a team together that was established since I came, and we sat down and we looked at I'll say the missionaries, if you want to use that term, missionaries that were all over the place. And so I said, okay, who do we know? Who do we not know? Who do we know is alive? Because we'd been supporting some of them for a while. I'm being a little facetious, but still. And I said, are we supporting who we want to? And it was such a big revelation. I'm trying to think if anyone in this room was part of that group, but it was such a big revelation. Wow, we can actually not just every year have the same people. Who is it that we want to partner with in ministry? And I had known about the ministry that Cal and Chrissy are doing in Montreal. And so I was really praying that the team would see not only the ministry that they were doing, but the fact that they're DNA from us. One of our drummers, Cody, his wife Jasmine, is Chrissy's daughter. They look like sisters. Yes, I'm not doing it just for points, but it's Jasmine, and it's not talking about how old Jasmine looks. Let me clear the air. But it's the fact that they're in ministry and doing such a powerful work in downtown Montreal. This is not hoity-toity, helipad ministry. This is right in the L'Atelier, I think you're right down there, and so right on St. Catherine Street, right. Okay, so their ministry, we're glad that we partner with that, and so we partner not only by giving them finances from what comes to our missions fund, but we also, I know this is longer than 30 seconds, but it matters. You'll understand why in a moment. But we also partner with them in prayer. We partner in their the work that they're doing. We have a number of organizations locally as well as regionally. When I say regionally, It could be global, but we say regionally, actually just because of the Crons, because they're in Montreal. I can't say global, and it's like, well, they're just in Canada. So we use the term regionally because of them. So look at that, Chrissy. You actually make us have to change our wording. But we just thank the ministry, not only that you're doing, but thank you that you're part of this conversation right now. And so those in the group here or later or whatever, just take time to pray for them, pray for all of our ministry partners, because we really are excited that Chrissy, Cal, you're part of us. Okay. So, anyways, I know that sounds like a big infomercial, but actually, it's more like an introduction to what I'm talking about today. As you know, and it sounds like a bit of a redundancy, but I think it's important for us to catch this, that we've taken this year to look at our vision statement of pursuing the person and presence of God in us, through us, and around us. And so we're taking this year, or 3 seasons, to look at it, to talk about them. How do we pursue the person and presence of God in all 3 spheres? In us, personally, through us, meaning in the ministry that we do, and as well around us, beyond. So like when we talk about the beyonds, that's kind of like talking about the crons. Boy, there's a message in there. You don't ever get a pastor, especially at 6:30 in the morning, getting rhyming, because now they think they're anointed, and it's like, oh, okay, well, anyways, maybe I should just drink something. So I want us to talk about this idea of blessing other people. And so this topic today, I entitled it, Wait for the Blessing. And I had another title. I won't tell you the title now because I think it gives too much away of what I'm getting at. But wait for the blessing. I don't know if we properly wait for the blessing. I almost can't say the words "the blessing" without thinking of Christmas Vacation. The blessing. But we have this idea that the blessing is just, Dominoes and biscuits. You just kind of I'm going to bless them or something like this. But understand that blessing others is sowing. It's sowing something into them. And man, I almost feel like I have my preacher voice going on already. But it's this idea of sowing. So yes, Paul says, one sows, one waters. Another person reaps. This idea. And so, do we all contribute? Yes, in different seasons. And I look at the fact that I'm here right now and I am ministering at First Ave. I did not found it. I did not found this church. None of you that I can see online founded this church. We are coming in after it's been sown, after it's been growing. So we are part of this blessing, but we have a responsibility to take what we've been blessed with and sow into others. I look at this isn't some sort of financial push to say, please donate. I'll get to that in a moment. But we have this company right now in the building, and they are retrofitting our HVAC. Basically, they're upgrading us and making it current and just that it can work, because right now it's almost like like these big switches and stuff, but we're gonna have that done. So we're taking what was given to us and thankful for it, but at the same time now we're upgrading it so that we can be a blessing to others. But do we sit around and wait to see the fruit of that? We wait sometimes we wait as long as we can. But I think a lot of times we just kind of bless and then we move on, and that's sort of an idea. And so when I was joking about this idea of, I remember last week looking at myself on this screen and looking at this sort of silhouette or this scene of me sitting in this chair, and I'm dating myself, and now I'm dating myself by saying I'm dating myself, and not meaning dating myself, meaning I'm single, but the idea of there was this guy when I was a kid. And if you know who I'm talking about, if you've seen this guy in action, then let me know. But I'm looking in this chair, and I don't know if any of you already know where I'm going, but there was this televangelist back in the day. I think it was in the 70s or 80s or whatever. And I'm almost going to see if anybody puts in the comment section who I'm talking about. So I'll just kind of delay as much as possible. He was this old man, white beard. So I wondered, like, do I grow this thing out? Scraggly beard. He'd wear like these big honking 70s bug eye glasses, and he'd have a hat on oftentimes, and he would just sit in the chair. He would smoke a cigar, and he'd be sitting there, and literally he would say, okay, I've got a teaching today, but I'm not gonna say anything until you guys start giving me money. Legit. Okay, like, enough that, like, I'm a kid, I'm like 7 or 8, seeing this buffoon on TV, and watching this and thinking, are you kidding me? Like how can I be like 7 or 8 and already know this is wrong? This is just really wrong. I have not seen the name come up on here. We were probably maybe Googling it. His name was Dr. Gene Scott. That was his name. And so he was from California. And if you remember him, then just put him in the thing. But he was sitting in this big leather chair. So I'm thinking, like, I bring a big stogie or something, lose my credentials about it. He was actually Pentecostal. I don't know how he got away with it. But, like, he would sit there, and I just thought, like, that's just... I'll see this. I heard this term recently, and I think it's really great. He says he wasn't a televangelist, he was a televandalist. I thought that's a powerful phrase. Televangelist, right? And so the reason why I say that is because there are people out there that you can tell that Christianity, it seems like it, Christianity has been set up for them. It's like, thank you, Jesus, you've given me a platform to make my money, to promote myself, to make my own little kingdom or big kingdom or kingdoms, because I got to fly between them. But, like, you can see, and it sounds like I'm being judgmental. I'm not, because believe me, I don't want to get to heaven and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I was wrong. My point is, where was their heart's intention in this? Maybe it started off okay, but did they wait for the blessing? To me, I believe that here it says, I like what Lynn has to say here. It's possible to be blessed in abundance. Yes, I believe it. You know what? And I never have a problem with somebody who's rich. I know you're thinking it's like halfway through and we're not even getting anywhere. No, we're getting there. This is my point. Like, I have a problem with people who are rich. I don't have a problem with people with, like, crazy rich. I don't believe that people are filthy rich. I believe that people are filthy rich when they take their riches and make them filthy. That's a different problem. But everything I have, I'm a steward of. Whether it's $1, $10, $100, $1,000. I was going to say $10,000 or $100,000, but now I'm starting to get into numbers that I just don't see. But the idea here is that I'm a steward, not Tracy Stewart, but I'm a steward of everything that I have. So I'm accountable for it. I'm accountable for it as a father, as a dad, as a husband. I'm accountable to it, like, to the government. I'm accountable for every dollar that I have. I'm accountable to it, to the church, meaning to God. In the fact that you've given me this, all of it, it's not mine, you've given it to me to steward blessing. Now, blessing may come to bless my wife or bless my kids or bless the fact that I want to thank God that we have a house right now, that I'm not sharing the bedroom with my daughter and my granddaughter. No, there's room right now for them to stay here and be in our house, which I love the fact that we've got almost all of our tribe here. Jacob is going to be coming soon. But, like, am I then saying I'm blessed, or am I part of the blessing process? if I think I'm the end line, which happens sometimes, okay, like a healing or something like this. But even with a healing, I take that back. You can be healed, and I'm thinking of a situation right now with someone in our church who came to me and said, you know what, there was cancer in their lung, and they had some chemo. It went down 25% only, and so they continued the next round, and they wanted to see the progress. Boom, gone. This is like recent. This is like in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'm just waiting to share the story on a Sunday. So with them there. But the idea of it being that, gone. So that's awesome. I've been blessed. But she told me the story. And now I'm blessed. So like, I take that back. The blessing cannot stop with you. It needs to move on. And so that's why I say, my hands, I'm almost getting Italian here. But what I'm saying here is that, do we wait for the blessing? Our vision is to be pursuing the person and presence of God in us, through us. Are you allowing the blessing of God to flow through you and bless others? I'm going to go right to I'll call it an artery, maybe not the jugular, but an artery of sorts. Is that people who say, I want to come to church, but I don't want to serve at church. Okay, I get it. You want to be the end of the line. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm just calling it for what it is that for whatever reason, they don't feel that they are healthy enough or willing or whatever. I'm not going to fill in the blank, but that it's the idea that you say, no, I can't, I don't have time or whatever, or I have to put my blessing somewhere else. And so I'm coming in on Sunday morning just to be refueled. I get it. I can speak from somebody, from experience, that I believe that we can be blessed more than the person we're blessing when we're blessing them. I've done ministry trips abroad. I can't say where because they're restricted nation. Well, it's just if I told you another line from that, you know exactly where I'm talking about. But like, the church is persecuted in a very innocuous way there. But I've done ministry there, and I can tell you now that by far our teams come back going, I can't believe they're changed. They're changed forever because of these things. So don't just take my word for it here. I want to look at a couple of verses here in our last 10 minutes. I haven't even started reading scripture, but in the last 10 minutes. But I want to bring some understanding to a verse that's found in the Bible in Philippians chapter 4. And I'm going to give it some context and pretext with the idea of a verse that we're very familiar with. And it's Philippians 4, verse 8. And it says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. It says, if there's any moral excellence or if there's anything praiseworthy, Paul says, dwell on these things. Okay, that's fine. I'm not really thinking that has anything to do with what I'm talking about. Then, verse 9 says this, do what you have learned and received and heard from me and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you, which I love because there's a difference, a big difference. Good morning, Charlene. There's a big difference that the peace of God and the God of peace. Oh, man, one of these days, boy, I'm going to do a message on that. There's a big difference between the peace of God and the God of peace. Okay, so it says that the God of peace will be with you. But let me circle back on this because not only do I want to talk about the 4 words that he says there, but the verse isn't read right. Sorry. It's not translated right. So I got to tickle. And anytime anybody coughs, I know everyone starts thinking, so the answer is no. I have a tickle because something went down the wrong pipe this morning. And it's been bothering me ever since. Okay, anyways, it says this. Do what you have learned. First point about that. Learned actually is better translated studied. The word learned there is where we get a word that we use all through school, math. Math comes from this word. It is about breaking down the process and rebuilding it. So it's like, okay, if you have kids or grandkids, please avoid this show because it is now playing all the time incessantly in our house. It's called number blocks. So you have 6, and then all of a sudden there's like 5 blocks in one block. They're all like whatever, animated people. And then you have 4 blocks and 2 blocks, 3 blocks and 3 blocks. So it's basically showing you the 2 different ways. You have 2 sets of 3. So it's how they're breaking down 6 and then showing you the different ways that it can become 6. Yay! Actually, she's pretty smart with that. I'm not saying that she's my grandkid, but oh my goodness, we got to go. But the idea here is that it's about breaking it down and then rebuilding it. So it's what you've learned, okay, what you have digested and taken from, okay? And it says, and received, the word there in the Greek is accepted, in the idea of taking it on as your own. You've personalized it. You have now basically made it you. So you've received it. You've taken it in. You've learned it. You've broken it down. You've taken it in now and said, and you've heard, okay? It's not heard in the sense of, well, like this right now. Maybe you're hearing me. Hopefully you're listening to me. It's actually where we get the word acoustics. So your acoustics, the room, hearing, bringing it in, listening to every acoustic, meaning like every frequency in this thing, okay? And then the fourth word here, it says, seen in me. Not seen, but, and not, well, I'll say it's observed, but it's like observed in a creepy way. It is like observed without blinking, like staring. Okay, it's staring. Noah, my granddaughter, when she looks at me, I think it's because I'm weird. She doesn't blink. I'm like, half the time I'm like, you can blink. You like just, that's just looking at me. And so this is what it's staring. So you see everything is intentional. So he's saying, do what you've intentionally learned, intentionally accepted, intentionally listened to, and intentionally observed. Okay, here's the thing. The verse was written wrong. The verse is written backwards in English, okay? Because it just says, do what you've learned. Do is not the word. It's not the context here. It's this. It's make it a routine. It's actually literally put into practice. So he doesn't say do what you have learned and what you have seen. Sorry, I'm trying to do it in the order. Learned what you've learned and what you've received and what you have heard and what you have seen. Okay, he's not saying do those things. Literally, what Paul is saying is this. I'm going to say it, that what you have learned, broken down, what you have received and are accepted, what you have listened to intently, and what you have stared and seen in me, he says, put it into practice. That's what he's saying. Put it into practice. Make it a routine. Make it something that now you're working on and doing it all the time. And then the God of peace will be with you. You want the God of peace in you? You need to be putting this. And so this idea of blessing others, Paul's saying, take it from me, take it in. Then when you do that, then here's what I'm going to get at and close with this. In Titus, okay, chapter 2, verse 7, it says this, make yourself an example of good works with integrity and dignity. Okay? Make yourself an example of good works. You want to bless people? Do it. But make yourself that example to others. Hopefully that's a bit of a trigger word to say this word example, because did we not take 5 weeks and look at that whole idea, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, 1 Timothy 4:12, but set an example for the believers in your speech and life and love and faith and purity. So this idea of being that example says I don't have memorized Titus 2:7, but it says make yourself an example of good works with integrity and dignity. Good works, not like Dr. Gene Scott sitting here saying, unless you give me money, I'm not going to give you a teaching. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being that example in Chilliwack. Catch this. Be an example in Montreal. Right? That's why I was talking and bringing when Chrissy came on. This idea. They're being an example, and I can't share their stories. It's for them. We'll get them to come and share their stories. I know some of them, like Kyle shared a bit. But this idea that there are people that they are ministering to in the by blessing them, but now because they see the integrity, they have learned, they're accepting, they are listening, and they are seeing, staring, because they are staring. That was the other topic or title I was going to call it. So somebody is watching you, but that blessing becomes the seed for the future. I'm going to close with this, is that coming here to Chilliwack, I made it, because it's a brand new house, I made a point. I was going to say, you know what? I'm really going to take care of my lawn. The house in Brantford was a gong show because people before basically let everything live in the grass, and it was like forever trying to get everything out of that. But here, I try really hard. And I find it interesting. The grass seed that I put in there, and it's growing. If I don't let it go for a bit, or if I let it go for a bit, all of a sudden it's like, okay, the grass isn't long, but these grass seeds are seeding already. I'm like, wow, okay, that's not really that far, but they are all ready to seed. Cool, awesome. So understanding that seed is now going to give myself a better lawn. You, as we hit 7 o'clock, you need to know that when you bless others, you are being seen, but wait to see and sow and water. How long are you going to be part of it to then see them start being a blessing? Kind of getting myself a little ahead of myself for a future topic. But make sure when you are blessing others, okay, that God is working through you so that what you've received, what you have learned, what you have seen, what you have heard from me, from others, maybe not Dr. Gene Scott, but all of those things will now allow you to be a conduit of blessing, charis, generosity to those around you. I am so glad you've joined me. I'm also so glad. Thank you to Facebook for not cutting me off this episode. I appreciate that as well. All right. Well, anyways, I look forward to seeing you. Remember, every 2 weeks, so not obviously it wasn't last night, every 2 weeks on Wednesdays, we're having these ice cream socials next Wednesday. So that's what, July 6th? I'm going to guess. We're going to be doing another ice cream social, and look for the details on that. It'll be 5:30 to 6:30. I will be there this time. I have no dates planned. I can't wait to see you there. Have a great and wonderful day, and come on Sunday just ready to worship the Lord. God bless you.